Fire outbreak ravages house, leaving family with ruins in Wellington. Gambia Red Cross Society to donate 500 households of Windstorm disaster from $13 million fund. TRRC hints on mood of reparations for human rights victims. In APRC and NPP coalition negotiation reaches maturity period. This and more coming on Gambia 24. Hello, you're just watching Gambia 24 News Bulletin with me, Mariama Cham, and thanks for joining us. A fire outbreak has destroyed 2 houses and left one with nothing to recover in the aftermath of the fire in Wellington on Thursday afternoon. One of the fire victims believed that the fire was caused by electricity as it started in his own room. Details of that in this report.
As people were quick to put out the fire, the flames escalated and left the 2 houses with nothing as most of their belongings perished in the fire. However, the family was preparing to conduct a charity today for their father who died this time last year. Now, instead of the charity preparation, the family is left with nothing but needs support from individuals to restore their house. Babukar Jallo, one of the fire victims who lost all his belongings in the flames, says the fire started in his room, which he believed is caused by electricity.
Film started, yeah, it was just because of current.
Everything started here in my room. It was just because of electricity actually. I can tell everything that was in the house, the chairs, 2 big mattresses put together, and there was money underneath the mattresses. I believe it was caused by electricity because there is nothing in this room that can cause fire. I was just at a friend's house opposite, so one of my neighbors had the explosion of the fire, so before I arrived, the smoke was already over the roof, and that's when we started to put out the fire, but it was so fast, but it was too fast.
As the other house were able to recover some of their belongings from the fire, Babukar rescued nothing from the fire except for the clothes he is wearing and the shoes he was to dry outside the house.
Didn't achieve anything inside here, so all was lost.
We couldn't rescue anything in the house, so I lost all my belongings. I mean everything, including the materials sent from abroad and the money I kept in the house, which was just $11,000. Part of the money was mine, but the rest is a friend's money who asked me to keep it for him. It is a small room though, but everything was here, which is a total loss for me. I have been staying here for the past 2 years, so whatever I have was kept in this house.
There was huge commotion between the firefighters and neighbors. Some of them argued that the firefighters would not enter the compound as they didn't come on time, that the fire was already put out by people upon their arrival. Fortunately for one of the fire victims, a bag containing $200,000 in notes was recovered from his burning house by neighbors who were helping to put out the fire without a single note being affected by the fire. However, the houses affected were severely destroyed by the fire and other belongings were also affected during the course of putting out the fire. Other victims could not talk because of the aftermath shock and devastation suffered from the fire. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
Now, the Gambia Red Cross Society has on Thursday announced receiving a fund of $13 million from Disaster Relief Emergency Fund, which will be used to support 500 households of the recent windstorm disaster. This fund, according to the Red Cross Secretary General Alassane Senghor, will be done by cash transfer to help them repair their houses. Amanda tells us more in this report.
The unfolding situation of the windstorm that took place on Wednesday night of 7th July has caused internal displacement and homelessness to many in the country. This has affected over 16,800 people in more than 100 communities across all the 7 regions in the Gambia. Immediately after the disaster, the Gambia Red Cross Society had deployed their teams to the affected areas and regions in distributing household items to the most vulnerable. Continuing to show their generosity to the affected citizens, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, Alassane Senghor, has on Thursday announced receiving a fund of $13 million to support 500 most vulnerable households in the country.
I'm glad today to announce that we have received this amount of money, which is over 200,000 Swiss francs. And of course, in reality, what goes out and would reach the community would be around $13 million that we will be using as cash transfer to 500 families, our 500 households. As I said earlier on, there are so far 1,847 households that have been assessed until now across the country. So we as Red Cross cannot do it all. We are complementing government's effort.
In giving out the funds, Mr. Senghor says the highest percentage will be given to the most affected regions.
So how we're going to be selecting this, we've developed a criteria. The regions that are most affected will have the highest percentage for sure. And then the second thing is that we look at what other partners are doing so that we don't duplicate. So currently, as we speak, we have our team sitting with other partners to basically look at that so that it doesn't have any duplication.
He further dilated on the launching of Gambia for Gambians campaign by the GRCS.
We have also launched Gambia for Gambians because, you know, over $13 million is coming from outside. We believe that Gambians also should be able to come together to help themselves. And that was why a couple of days ago, or yesterday precisely, we launched the Gambia for Gambians.
Meanwhile, Senghor says that before receiving the fund from the disaster relief emergency, an estimated sum of 1.1 million had been used in delivering household items to the affected families. The windstorm surge, according to the National Meteorology Department, is the first time in recorded history that Gambia has experienced a scale of destruction caused to the lives and housing of communities. For iAfrica News, I am Amindao.
Given the acceleration slope in COVID-19 cases, the government has announced the revival of the previous emergency measures to suppress the third wave of the virus. With the public fully empowered for the enforcement of the COVID-19 regulations, a $1,000 fine is prescribed for those found wanting. Public opinion showed that the situation is both worrying and reflective of fear. Our sisters sought their opinion and say now files in this report.
In the wake of controlling the spread of COVID-19 in the Gambia, the government has imposed new restrictions of wearing face masks at all times in public places. Those found violating this regulation or failing to wear a face mask in public places shall pay a fine of $1,000 effective on Saturday. However, this decision did not go down well with the public, as many argued that the decision was prompt and most of them are not aware. One such is Samba Chad, who blamed the government for failing to inform its citizens about such an issue prior.
Before you ask your citizens to do something instant, you should inform them prior. Maybe in the next 2 weeks, this is what we will do, or this is what will happen, just like how they did it the last time. But just don't inform them, saying, by Saturday, if anyone doesn't wear face masks, you will pay $1,000. How can you pay that when you are not even aware? The government should have informed the people prior, maybe 2 weeks, on radios or TV, so that anyone who is going out will wear a face mask.
The trend and lack of trust in the existence of COVID-19 in the Gambia is still on the go. The lack of cooperation in wearing face masks by many is as a result of their doubt that the virus is in the Gambia.
There is no coronavirus in the Gambia. People are dying out of hunger and not corona. A bag of rice is $1,500 and your monthly salary is not even up to $1,000. There's no virus here. People are just hungry. So let the government try to send away hunger. If this happens, the virus will disappear.
Wearing a face mask is not a force. Whatever is destined to happen will happen. Even if you wear hundreds of face masks, if Allah says you will have this virus, you will have it. Face masks cannot prevent anyone from death. It cannot prevent anyone from contracting the virus. So let them allow people to live. If anyone wants to wear a face mask, let them wear it. And if anyone cannot wear it, let them not wear it. Even if you wear this face mask, if it is time for you to die, you will die. They should not put any penalty of pay if you don't wear the face mask.
Contrary to majority's concept about the new regulation, a vendor at Sarakunda Market supports the government decision, saying the regulation is there to save people from contracting the virus.
Hence, coronavirus is increasing in the country. Let's go with what the law says and respect the regulations. We should go back to wearing face masks. What the government is doing is just meant to help us from contracting the virus. So let us do whatever they say.
The new regulations ordered all owners or managers of public and private premises and shops that are accessible to the public to ensure that persons entering such premises wear face masks. The recent surge in Gambia's COVID-19 cases is worrisome and calls for action. Currently, the country has recorded 6,610 COVID-19 confirmed cases, 188 deaths, and 5,991 people have recovered from the virus since March last year. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health in a press statement said it will commence introducing the Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine on Saturday, the 17th of July 2021. This is due to unlimited stock of the AstraZeneca vaccine in the country. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
Now, considering the reparation mandate as a key component of the Commission, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission has outlined the criteria to govern compensation of human rights victims. According to the Vice Chairperson of the Commission, more than 700 victims of gross human rights violations will receive their reparations based on the gravity of the crimes committed against them. Kadiju Seka sent this report.
The press conference was meant to enhance transparency in the regulations put in place to the compensation of victims under the 22-year rule of former President Yahya Jammeh. The TRRC was set up in 2019 to investigate systemic human rights violations and their enabling factors between 1994 to 2017, and to keep impartial records of the truth for posterity. Public hearings for the past 3 years provided victims and their families the platform to tell and hear stories regarding the execution of wrongs with a view to reconcile them with some of the perpetrators of the crimes, as well as to organize and reparation packages therewith. Although no amount of compensation would erase the wounds created by the various crimes, the Truth Commission deemed it necessary to make sure that the reparations are part of symbolic sign of justice. Among 1,000 victims due for reparation, 758 people whose violations were inhumane are entitled to $50,000 and above, which will be given based on the gravity of the outcome of the violations inflicted on them.
We had 758 people who qualified under the type of violations that I told you about: unlawful killing, enforced disappearance, torture, physical assault, unlawful detention, sexual gender-based violence. And for each one, an inhumane and degrading treatment. And for all those categories, there were levels. There was a flat, but then you had the levels of gravity. If you were tortured once, tortured twice, tortured 3 times, if the torture resulted in physical disability, you would of course get more than the person who was tortured and was not permanently disabled, or a person who was detained for 30 months and above. Obviously, we had to curtail that also because of the limited amount of resources that we had.
Deputy Chairperson of the TRRC, Adelaide Sose, reported that the Commission have already commenced the process with victims and that their support unit at the Commission have been making payments to the rural communities who fell as victims of human rights violations.
We are happy to report that even though the payments are only symbolic, we have started paying. People have been coming to get their money here. And for those who live in rural communities, the VSU stands for Victim Support Unit, supported by the Finance Department, have been going out to meet them in their communities because really it would be too difficult for them to travel. So from Jambur, they've been to Jambur, they've been to Jambanjeli, they've been to Makumbaya. I think today they're going to Galaya. And after that, they will go to SAO, Sintet, Sabah Njayan, all the way where you have communities of people, not one-off cases, that suffered violations as a community.
Following the end of public hearings in June, the Commission is expected to submit final recommendation to the Presidency by 30th July 2021. As the mandate of the Commission ends on the said date, government is obliged to set up an independent body to continue on the reparations program designed by the TRRC. Khadija Tuseka, iAfrica News.
And that TRRC report on reparations by our Khadija Tuseka will take us to a quick break, and we'll be right back with the rest of the news on Gambia 24. Stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back, and you're still watching Gambia 24 News Bulletin. The former ruling Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction APRC party on Thursday held an executive meeting regarding the seizure of their assets. Among these assets, 7 vehicles have already been given back to the party by the borough administration, according to the APRC deputy spokesperson. The development appears to confirm the maturity of a coalition between APRC and the National People's Party NPP of President Adama Barrow. Our reporter Binta Jallo tells us more in this report.
iAfrica TV understands that the exiled former president of the Republic of the Gambia, who is still the supreme leader of the APRC, is fully aware of his party's consultation to join with President Barrow's NPP for the December 4th presidential election. In an exclusive interview with the APRC's deputy spokesperson on Friday, Duduja explained the ongoing negotiations with the NPP regarding the assets one time under the possession of their party. So far, 7 vehicles were returned, with 3 orders on the way from the government. The softening of the grip over the assets of the former ruling party by the current government is a desperate move by the Barrow MPP to hang on to power by the end of the 5-year transitional period by the end of 2021. Mr. Jha confirmed the move as a foundation towards their possible alliance with the MPP, as each party is railing a permanent political interest. He said the issue of coalition with the NPP is not peculiar to just APRC. In fact, some of the newly formed political parties, he said, are also seeking for coalition with MPP. But whether to go into coalition with the MPP or not, the presidency will have to review the key demands from the APRC.
Well, it all started with the coalition government. We've been following this since 2017 when the NPP never existed. They just came into being last year. And when they approach us, there are many political parties in this country, but the NPP has interest and see we can work with the APRC. It is our right as a party to engage any political party. And we said, wait a minute, your leader is the head of government, and the same coalition government sees our assets. So we want what was taken from us first before anything could happen. If you can fulfill that, then we see what the next stage or where the next stage will carry us. And part of these negotiations is yet to be finalized even at party level. As of yesterday, we are going to start compiling. But of course, key among those is for the former president's return. That is top priority.
With regards to the allegations of the fraction within the APRC over the issue of coalition, Duduja urged party supporters to understand that they are politicians and not revolutionaries. He explained this statement as efforts to safeguard their party and that of its supreme leader, and that not everyone in a group can agree to every decision.
We engage him all the time. Sometimes we even ask him for advice. He says, you people are on the ground. You look at what is best and you execute that. You know, this is between us and him. And in certain instances, he will tell, no, I'm not saying anything on this. You people can handle it. So that's the trust he has on the executive. And wherever it's going, he's in the picture. He's aware. He's hearing it.
A lot of allegations were made against the APRC Supreme Leader before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, whose recommendations are expected by the end of July. It is highly anticipated that former president and chief servants of his government from 1994 to 2017 will be seriously indicted by the TRRC final report. In what appears to be a countermeasure, the APRC has announced its plan for peaceful demonstration in Banjul on the 26th of July to petition the Gambia government about TRRC. For iAfrica News, Binta Yalo.
Now, the Humanitarian Stars has on Thursday released their 4th album on all musical platforms for audiences beyond the Gambia. Urusungalam, as the album is named, is a value ointment made from precious gems like gold, silver and bronze in African society. In it, Gambians are presented as the Urusungalam in the musical lyrics. Fatmata Kasim attended the event and she now files in this report.
As the Humanity Stars cheer towards the launching of their 4th album, Gambians in different quarters are contributing solidarity in different form to energize the entertainment industry in general. The album Dope Urusungalam has got the Gambia Red Cross among stakeholders vibrating advocacy for the nurture and appreciate talents of youngsters like the constituent of the Humanity Stars. The Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, Alassane Senghor, was in attendance of the pre-album launching by the Humanity Stars, during which he considered their products as representation of diversity of skills in the youths.
I think young people in this country need support. I think the mistake that people do is they think that everybody will go to school and get a degree and be working in an office. There are people who have skills. They can have the basic foundation of education to help them in life, but their skill set is different from being those that go to the office and work on, white-collar jobs and all these sort of things.
The Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture, Hasum Sise, expresses happiness with the progress of Humanity Stars in the music industry. He recognized the need for promotion and patronage of indigenous languages in the field of art.
I had some bits of it, okay, and it's good that you sing in the languages that our people understand, but that also is very, very important, so that what you are doing, aside from the message of the songs, you are also promoting our indigenous languages, and this also, our musicians are doing very well in that.
The president of the Gambia Music Union, Pamoudou Sarr, embraced the achievement of these musicians and their commitment to quality production. He described the Humanity Stars as one of the bands in the country known for its great work by virtue of the 4th album being released.
The composition of the Humanity Stars, that is something that we will have to encourage a lot, because they're one of the bands that are doing live bands in this country. And as musicians, I will use the opportunity to encourage artists and musicians in this country to be able to perform using live bands, because this is very, very important to what we do. It is not limited to the fact that we have to endeavor to try new experiences, to try new endeavors as well, in order to be able to explore the wider world that we find ourselves.
The lead vocalist of the band, Aliou Badara Diouf, explained the delivery of their latest album as celebration of the heroism of all participants to national development. In consideration of the political atmosphere of the country, the singer deemed it fit to advocate for peace and harmony.
I am just continuing to play my role with the Humanity Stars to advocate for peace. This is election year. It's an important year. I can call it one of the most crucial elections of this country. And we have a lot at stake. But like I said, we the young people, we should be very much aware of the decisions and the things that we're going into. We should not allow to be used as political tools.
Music in the Gambia is closely linked with that of its neighbor, Senegal, in diction, themes, and sometimes rhymes. Among the country's prominent musicians include Fode Musa Suso, an Afro-Manding top star in the name of Jeliba Kuyate. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
The report by Fatmata Kasim on the Humanity Stars releasing its 4th album after years, called Ulus Ngalam, brings us to the end of Gambia 24 News. I am your presenter, Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching. Have a good night and do enjoy your weekend.